Hello there everybody and welcome back to Pokemon White 2. We started our adventure in the lovely Aspertia City, and now we are still on a search to find Bianca, who is going to be given our Pokedex, and of course most likely our starter Pokemon. Now, while we are still on a search for her, I may as well go over Aspertia City's music, which I gotta say it is actually a really good one. For a starting music of for like a starting town music, this one I really like. I really do like this music here. Okay, but anyways, everyone. Now, since we are still on our search, I guess I shall once again go over what I tried to cover last time. That being the Pokemon Dream Radar, which of course is a game that I'll never do a playthrough of, since honestly it's relatively pointless for me to do that anyway. Yeah, since it's already been long and done and over with for that. and since I am playing this game on an emulator anyway, so I'm not gonna be able to transfer any Pokemon over to this game anyway. So, but anyways, everyone. Now for how Dream Radar works is that. Now you actually get to capture Pokemon by going through various levels where you need to shoot clouds, and you do so by moving the camera using the 3DS's gyroscope feature. Yeah, and then when you shoot a gray cloud, and an energy orb will appear, and then when you capture this orb, and it may hold a Pokemon inside, and if you get a pink orb, and they will offer, and those are called Dream Orbs. And they actually are used as a form of currency, and then after completion of the levels and collecting enough Dream Orbs, you will be able to gain access to 3 certain legendary Pokemon, which I will cover later on. Yeah, I'll talk about that. Yeah, once we get to those 3 within this game. Yeah, but anyways, everyone. As you can see, now we have found a yes, everyone. Now we have come across a Bianca again. 2 years later. Now Bianca has definitely got herself a new look to her. Well, she obviously still wears that. She obviously still wears that big green. She obviously still wears that green. Hat of hers, but she now wears glasses. Yeah, and she's also got herself a Now with the fact that Bianca now has glasses, tells you that she really has been working hard to being the assistant for Professor Juniper. She really has grown a lot ever since the 2 years have passed. But anyways, everyone, I don't know why the game wanted us to stop talking to her before we even got our starter Pokemon, but whatever. Now, and speaking of which, now we get access to our Now here's where we finally get access to our starter Pokemon. And here's where we see Bianca in 3D! And that's probably the only time that you'll ever see that in this whole series. But anyways, everyone, now just like in the prequel series, your starter Pokemon for this generation are Snivy, Tempest, and Oshawott. Now, when I first played for this game, just like in the prequel games, I chose Tempest as my starter, and the end result was definitely much worse than the prequels. Yeah, for those of you who have played Black 2 White 2, will definitely understand what I'm talking about. And I definitely will talk about that for when we actually get to that point. Yeah. which is why for this playthrough, I've chosen Oshawott! Yeah, that's right, everyone. This time, yeah, for once in one of my playthroughs, I am actually utilizing a water type Pokemon this time around, huh? Yeah, considering that I usually pick my fire types to be my starter Pokemon, but I decided that this time around, since I'm not gonna be utilizing Tempest this time around, yeah, this time I'm gonna be going with the water type. I'm gonna be utilizing the water type Oshawott. But anyways. Now, of course, once we get our starter, yeah, and of course we get our Pokedex, which essentially works the exact same way as it did within the prequel titles. So if you already know how it works, then good for you. But anyways, everyone, now, and I guess I should say also about the starter Pokemon, and this also goes into their evolutions this also goes into their evolutions as well. Now, while their overall sprites are exactly the same as they were within the prequels, but however, their animations are slightly different this time around. Yeah, get this. The Universe starters are the only ones to actually have slightly have a slight change when it comes to their animations. Now, as for the other Pokemon, no, they don't. Yeah, all of their, as for the rest of the Pokemon, their animations are exactly the same. Well, actually, I know there is one Pokemon in particular that while its animation may be the same, but the actual sprite itself is different. And I don't get why they chose to do that for this particular Pokemon, but you will get to see what I mean. What I am talking about is because, yeah, it is still one of the Gen 5 Pokemon that I am talking about. So we are going to be seeing it. Eventually. It will definitely take us a while before we even. Yeah, it will definitely take us a while before we actually get to that. But anyways, everyone, now just before we are about to leave, yeah, now Hugh already wants to challenge us to a battle, and he'll say that now the way that he got his starter Pokemon was actually from an egg. So yeah, that's something that you don't really get to see that often when it comes to starter Pokemon. You know, actually being raised from eggs. But anyways, Now, just like with any challenging rival, yeah, they will usually will have their starter Pokemon to be the more stronger one, to be the more stronger one than yours. But anyways, everyone. Now, as you may see, now Oshawott's a new animation is that he actually tosses his Scout Chop and actually catches it. So yeah, that's something that we did not get to see within the prequels. Yeah, and then as for Snivy. Yeah, now Snivy actually tilts his head up just a smidge up higher. Now, if I recall, as for Tepic, now I think he actually stands up on his hind legs. Yeah, and he actually tries to sniff the air. So yeah, that's definitely something else. Now, I forget what the new animation was for Pig Knight. Then as for Embor, I definitely recall is that Embor's new animation is that now he actually does like a big wrestling move where he tries to flex his muscles. Where he actually flexes it, where he actually does a little like a full legs on his arms. Yeah, now as he actually tries to show off his muscles and whatnot. Yeah. But anyways, now as for the other 4 evolutions for the starter Pokemon. That being Dilwon, Summerrod, Servine, and Superior. Yeah, I will cover those for when we actually see them. Since we aren't gonna be seeing them in this whole playthrough anyway. But anyways, now even though we got to skip on how the Pokedex works tutorial. But unfortunately, you still have to go through the Pokemon Center, dude. You still have to go through the Pokemon Center. Yeah, you still have to go through the Pokemon Center tutorial. So, yeah, even though I just said in the last video, while there are several tutorials that these sequels actually, where you can actually skip out on. But however, the Pokemon Center one, not so much. Well, yeah, and I get it is because that Bianca obviously wants you to heal up your Pokemon. So I get why she wants. I get why she wants to bring you here. So that of course that she could teach you about everything again. But at the same time, you can at least give us the option again, right? Now, I guess since we aren't just gonna go through the tutorial again, now I guess I should say, the music that we heard from, the music that we heard when you are facing against your rival. Yeah, that one is also, now that piece of music is also a really good one. Yeah, I really do like the new rival music for these sequels. So yeah, and of course now Bianca gives you several Pokeballs, which I think she only gives you like 5 of them. Now, thankfully, once she heads outside, then that's when you can actually start doing stuff on your own now, inside the center. Oh, wait, it's not 5, it's 10. Right, she gives you 10. Now, even though I'm probably not gonna be utilizing potions all that much, but I still don't have much money, but I may as well buy 10 more Pokeballs. Because when we actually get to the next set of routes in this game, we're definitely going to be utilizing those Pokeballs because, yeah, I'm going to say this right now. The amount of Pokemon that we can get within these sequels have definitely been increased. And I definitely will cover that once we actually get to that portion. But anyways, everyone, now, back to what I was saying about the dream of radar. Now, as for the Pokemon that you can capture within the dream or radar, all of them will have their hidden now all of them will have their hidden abilities, aka abilities that the Pokemon cannot get normally. Now first off, you'll be able to get a Staryu with the ability analytic, and also Porygon with that same ability. Yeah, and then we have Igglybuff with the ability for Endguard, and then we have a Togepi, with Super Luck, and then you can get Shuckle with the ability from Contrary, and then you can get Smoochum with Hydration, Routes with Telepathy, and then you could get Swablu with Cloud9, Drifloon with full Lair Boost. Then you'll be able to get Bronzor with Heavy Metal. Oh yeah, but first, yeah, what you're seeing on screen is something that is definitely also a first for the series, where you actually get the running shoes before you even leave the first city of the game. Yeah. Yeah, that's something that doesn't happen very often, now does it? Whereas in the previous titles, you essentially have to wait until you're like a gym or two later, like a few cities in, before you even think about before you actually get the running shoes. Now, and I guess I should say this. As well too, is that just like what we saw with the running shoes here. Now there are several other key items that we can get that we got to win within the prequels, that we can actually get them a lot more earlier within the sequels. Yeah, especially one particular item for when we actually reach a certain city. Yeah, for those of you who have played this game, definitely know which city I am, which city that I am indeed talking about. Now, and as Bianca just said there, yeah, once we enter our very first route in the game, yeah, fortunately Bianca is going to be teaching us how to actually capture a Pokemon. Yeah, which unfortunately is yet another tutorial, which is unfortunately yet another tutorial which we could have easily skipped considering that we are in the sequels, but unfortunately they don't do it. But as everyone, we shall continue on for the next one. And so till then, I'll see you guys next time!